Welcome to the first episode of a new series I'm going to do. It is called I Saw Blank, obviously inspired by that episode of the needle drop that he did where he saw Sun, where he talked about what he saw at that concert and what he experienced. It's something that I want to do simply, for myself, just to kind of chronicle what things I actually see at concerts and what bands that I go to see and what the experience is actually like. But also just to kind of recommend, if you also like this band or you maybe want to know what a band is like for a live experience, I want to be able to talk about that a bit more in depth. So I just saw Ghost, as you can tell by the title of this video, and holy shit, it was fucking awesome. There was no opening act. They performed at Place Belle in Laval, and they played for like 3 hours, from 8 o'clock to 11, and it was insane. They had one like 15-minute intermission in between, but they played every song that you would expect them to. He Is was, of course, a great one. What else was there? Year Zero, all the great ones from their new album, Faith, Danse Macabre at the end. They played that at the end. Square Hammer. They played Ritual and Monstrance Clock, and I think I said Year Zero already, right? Yeah, and Satan Prayer, also from the first album. So lots of songs that you'd expect them to, and they even played the cover of If You Have Ghosts, which is fucking fantastic, and it's one of my favorite songs by them. Even though it's not originally by them, it is a Rocky Erickson cover. But the thing that strikes me about Ghost is that, they're a very blatant, obvious band with their satanic influence. People have always talked, throughout the years, throughout the decades, ever since rock music had its heyday back in the 60s and 70s, that rock music is satanic and it's got a satanic influence on people. And then, there was the whole thing with Judas Priest and their backmasking and telling, young people to kill themselves, and the whole thing with the Filthy 15 and the parental content warning that is on music right now. People, especially old conservatives, have always criticized metal and rock music for its satanic influence. And there is no band out there that is more blatant in that than Ghost, at least in the modern mainstream. I mean, even though Slayer is a huge band, they're not a band that's receiving radio airplay like Ghost is. So all those fucking conspiracy nuts that are on YouTube talking about how, Taylor Swift and Beyonce and all of these pop artists are like secretly Illuminati Satanists that are trying to influence you and brainwash you through the media, none of them are talking about Ghost, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But the whole thing is that rock music has always been about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I would say that Satan is a great metaphor for that. Like, Satan represents all of those things. Satan represents giving into lust. Satan represents kick-ass fucking music, and also just being free, like freeing your inhibitions, basically, is kind of the meaning of Satanism, at least to me, even though I don't call myself a Satanist. So I think there's no band out there that really exemplifies that like Ghost does. Now, a lot of metalheads give Ghost criticism because they don't really sound like a metal band. I mean, they're not. They're a rock band. They're a stadium rock band at this point. Their first album, you could say, was definitely more in the stoner doom vein, like Black Sabbath, more like Blue Oyster Cult. But their newer shit is definitely more like Def Leppard inspired stadium rock, big bombastic tunes that, fill up an entire stadium and get an entire crowd to sing along to a really catchy melody, which is what Ghost does well. And it was such an experience to be in a place like Place Belle that was just full of thousands of people screaming the lyrics out, and, along to these super catchy melodies that are all songs that just glorify Satan. I think that's amazing, and you never would have gotten this at any other time in history, I think, than right now. Like, all of the other bands that people claimed were satanic, like, Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and these bands that, the older conservative crowd was always saying, like, oh, they're satanic just because they're metal. maybe they sang songs about Satan, like, you know, the number of the beast and stuff like that, but they never were really actually satanic. I mean, you know, even Venom, a band who is like known for writing songs just about fucking Satan, witches, and witchcraft and shit like that, they are not actually satanic. You know, they did it all for imagery. And I know the Ghost does that too, but like just the fact that you have so many people from all walks of life who have gathered in this one place to, you know, sing along lyrics like in this chapel of ritual, it smells of dead human sacrifice. You know, you won't get that from any other band other than Ghost, in the modern mainstream at least. So that's one thing I really like about Ghost. But the other thing is just how good they are at stage presence and just the performance in general. Like, they're obviously great musicians in and of themselves. I think Tobias Forge is a fantastic vocalist. Whoever is the actual person who is playing guitar and bass, and the Goulettes who are playing the keyboards, the drummer, they're all fantastic musicians. And I think you'd have to be to play in a band like this where the songwriting is so key. But on top of that, they just know how to work a stage. You know, they're strutting along and they will engage with the audience. You know, they're pointing out, they have charisma, especially, of course, Tobias being the frontman, Cardinal Copia or Papa Emeritus, whoever he's playing. He has that charisma. He is, in my opinion, you know, the quintessential rock star for the modern age, and it's just amazing to witness that. Even his stage banter is hilarious. He knows how to work a crowd, saying all these jokes of like very like obviously sexual and just dark humor in general. He's really, really good at that, and I just found myself enraptured. You know, it's like if you've ever been to a church service before in any kind of like Baptist or Pentecostal church, which I'm very used to because I grew up in a Pentecostal environment, then going to a show like this where there's just a huge stage, a gigantic backdrop with a fucking cathedral painting on it, and you know there's like these fake stairs up on the stage with the drum set and the keyboards, and you know everyone's kind of got their own spot on the stage, and then you have this guy who's dressed in a uniform essentially addressing the crowd. It's almost like being at a sermon, but it's a very liberating one. It's not something like you'd experience with Christianity where you know you're supposed to kind of give yourself over to this higher power. In something like this, it's like you're giving your mind over to your own inhibitions, really. Like you're freeing yourself of all inhibitions and just kind of going for just letting loose, essentially. And I think that's really beautiful. And I had a lot of fun. You know, I headbanged to the riffs in, like, you know, the one at the end of Rats that's super fucking heavy, and I danced along to Dance Macabre and to Rats and Square Hammer. And all the songs I knew the lyrics to, which was like 80% of the ones that they played, I screamed them out. I'm surprised I'm still talking right now, but tomorrow morning when I wake up, I know I'm not going to have a voice. And that's also the reason why, you know, I have the makeup on. I did do a little something like that just because I felt like it would be appropriate to dress up for a band like Ghost, who is kind of also known for their image, just, you know, besides the music anyway. So that's how the show was. It was fucking awesome. They had pyrotechnics. You know, there was jets of fire going up at very key moments in certain songs. That was like up behind the band, and there was like a multiple of them, and they would just all kind of shoot up. And they also, at one point, had jets of confetti that shot out over the crowd at one point. I can't remember which song it was. And in amongst the confetti, they had little dollar bills that. There was only a few of them, but I actually managed to score one. So this is what it looks like. I don't know exactly what you can see there, but I feel really lucky to have gotten this. And then on the back it says the United States of America, $666. Because of course it does. So that was fucking awesome. And on top of that, I also bought a shirt. And, you know, being such a big fan of A Clockwork Orange, the movie, I have not read the book yet, regretfully. I think this shirt is fucking awesome. I don't know how much of you can, how much that you can see of it, because I can't look at the camera while showing this to you, but I think you got a pretty good idea of what it looks like. Yeah. Fucking awesome. So anyway, that was the experience of seeing Ghost, or Ghost BC as they were formerly known, in their current incarnation. Who knows what will happen next with their next release. I love this band, even though a lot of people don't, but I don't give a fuck what those people think. I think this band is fucking sick. So, I saw Ghost. My name is Greg. See you later.